Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on tonight? Welcome. It is Mark May. Welcome to the Mayhem Show with Mark May, episode number 20, milestone episode number 20. We got Miss Diana Davis on the show tonight. First things first, ladies and gentlemen, last week, I will admit, had some celebratory shots to finish off the night. I did pay off somebody I owed some money to, and I felt really good about it. Had a couple shots to celebrate while I was on the show. When we played that Lucio Perillo video for the cover reveal, it tore me up, man. Because I got to work with my favorite artist and I got to work with my favorite composer at the same time. And seeing it together, I just kind of broke down, man. Kind of got a little emotional, kind of cried a little bit on the show. And I left it up. I didn't edit it out. It's real life stuff, guys. It's the first time I felt like I accomplished something since we've been doing this for 7 years. And I let it out on the show, man. So Jim Burleson, super trooper. Thanks for putting up with me last week all the way till the end. Guys, welcome to the Mayhem Show. I am so excited to have you here for the 20th episode. I got a little special video we're going to play for you here in just a second before we bring on our co-host, Mr. Lewis Perry. Lewis, I'm going to bring you on first before we play the video. Dude, it is so good to see you this week. What you been up to, my man?
I got a body built for sin and an appetite for passion.
I leave you and you break down and you get yourself in trouble, Mark. What's the matter with you? I lay down this perfect rap for you at the end of the night, and I've been working on one all night for today for when I make my escape at 10 p.m. before I turn into a pumpkin. You better not get yourself in trouble tonight, my friend. That's all I got to tell you. My God, I leave you for
to worry about, sir. I don't think I'm going to be drinking for quite a while.
5 seconds I leave you and I get these, like the bat signal goes off and the sirens start flashing that a whole bunch of stuff is going on. I mean,
so Lewis, here's the deal.
What the hell is going on? What's the deal?
You weren't here when we played the video. The video is what got me, but you are here this week and we are going to play the video again right now.
I'm going to take off the madness glasses so I can see them through the video scope unconstructive. How about that?
Okay,
Magnifico.
can you understand why I maybe got a little emotional after watching that for a little bit?
Magnifico. Angry Geeks approved.
Thank you,
Man,
sir. So, like I'm saying, Lucio Perillo working with one of the best artists in the world on a cover for my book. And then I'm also working with Adrian Von Zeigler, who did the music for the video, who's one
mhm.
of my all-time favorite composers, if not my all-time favorite modern composer. Like that, dude, that just struck a nerve right there. There was nothing I could do about it, and I let it loose immediately on TV. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, dude, I'm
ah,
no, I get it. I'm digging it. I'm not bagging on you. That was perfect. I mean, it was emotional. The music hit the art. It was spot on. Your editing was spot on. It was beautiful. Like I said,
dude,
Angry Geeks approved.
I'm so excited for this book. I'm gonna be on the road for the launch. I'm gonna be in Springville, Alabama on the 28th for a meet and greet where I'm gonna meet all my fans from the South where I grew up at a pizza place where I grew up. And they're gonna open one day on a Monday only just for this special event. It's gonna be the first time you're ever able to buy Hellbringers books in person. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
You gonna name a pizza after you?
God, I hope so. What would you name it? The ginger bearded giant?
No, I would name it. I would name it. Let's see.
Oh, Thomas.
No, 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 no. Come on now. You got to give me a second.
No, no,
Our
no. I'm saying
name
what's up to our boy
it.
Thomas here. He's saying what's
Uh,
up to both of us.
oh, I didn't see no comments come through. Um, something mayhem. How about what's up, Wolfie? Mayhem meat lover. There you go, right there. Ooh, yeah, that's it, brother, right there. Wolfie comes
What's up,
through.
Glenn?
Mayhem meat lover. Yeah, that's
I
perfect.
like Mayhem Meat Lover.
Yeah,
Glenn, I
Wolfie
just got
comes up.
done doing a
Thomas.
cover for this gentleman for his comic book. You guys check it out when it comes out. Glenn, love you, buddy. Sent you the original artwork. You're gonna own that for life, and I really hope your comic does well, brother. Uh,
What comic
guys,
are you?
without further ado, I've got to bring on our guest. I mean, I have been a fan of this person for quite a while. She's always been nice to me. She's even commissioned me before. I'm going to bring her on right now, Miss Diana Davis. How you doing?
Hold on. Take
You're,
off the madness
oh,
glasses. Well, hello, Diane. How are you?
your mic is muted, my friend Diana. You got a muted mic.
There we go.
There it
Sorry,
is.
my mouse
There
died
it
at the
is.
same time. I noticed I was muted. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm all right. It's the end of a beautiful day out here today. It's hump day. It's the middle of the week. We're doing
Heck yeah.
great. Oh yeah.
Speaking of hump day, it's hump day is Wednesday, which means it's new comic day.
Hmm.
Always fun to talk about new comic day stuff. You sent me a leak earlier, and it showed Joe, a Real American Hero 286 will be the
286.
first. Let's see, 286 will be the first of 5 issues wherein living legend Larry Hama spotlights fan favorite characters, old and new alike, starting with Spotlight Storm Shadow.
Yep. We're in the middle of
That
the murder
sounds
by
amazing.
assassination link, which is fantastic right now, introducing Sherlock. So 282 just came out today. It's a fantastic issue. This whole arc is just back to the basics, battles, intrigue, Cobra, mysterious bad guys, something's going on. Joe's got to sort it out. And Larry, actually, in this arc we're in right now, murder by assassination, we have 5 new characters, 5
Oh,
brand new GI Joes popped
wow.
out. So we have Sherlock. Then we've got coming on Caseload, Black Hat, Molto, who is the first Pinot Joe, sorry, the first Pinot Joy. I always stumble on that. Molto means ghost, by the way, ex-Philippine Special Forces. And bottom line, they all are premiering in this arc. They're all fantastic new characters. But once Murder by Assassination wraps up with 285, it's starting to be the climb to 300. And Larry's going to hit his 300th issue this year, and next year is the 40th anniversary of ARAH. So we're building up to it. And if you guys read Untold Tales, I mean, those hit well. Those one shots hit fantastic. And so we want to sort of highlight new and old characters as we build our way up. It's going to be exciting. And if you look at that cover, that Storm Shadow cover, I don't know if you have time to fling it up there. That is Alex Sanchez, who is a fantastic artist, and believe it or not, my husband Cullen colored that one in.
Wait, I'm gonna bring it up right now, guys. Bear with me. We're gonna go ahead and bring this up. I just found it on the internet.
And
And we
So
have
go ahead, Lewis.
we have a question from Wolfie or Thomas, as you know him. I know him as Wolfie. He says, "Is Storm Shadow a bad guy in this story arc?"
it depends upon if this one shot is sort of in the present, because of course in the present, Storm Shadow and the Arashikage clan, of course, are working with Joe. So, and you'll notice that there's no Cobra insignia on that outfit at all. So I'm assuming, of course, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know what's going on in Larry's head, if he's going to take it back to the past, maybe, or deal with the present. It all depends upon where the character takes him when he opens up to start writing it down, because he writes page by page. It's almost like he doesn't know what's happening on page 2 till he's done with writing page 1. And when it tickles him and the character is I guess sounds right and he goes with it and takes off, we'll find out. But I'm assuming he's probably going to be the Tommy Arashikage we know right now in the present.
So he writes page by page.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have anything that's going to happen like page 3 while he's doing page 1.
Yeah. I mean, in the overall
Wow.
arc, I'm assuming he sort of knows kind of an endpoint he's going for.
Right.
But remember, these characters, a lot of them are based on people he knows.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of thinking that because he's character based, right? He wants to have really great, intriguing characters that we all can sort of find something of ourselves in. And they're based on folks he knows. It's kind of like, here's a situation. What would they do? And he doesn't entirely know till they get there. Of course, you'd have to speak to him more about it. I'm not like a Larry Hama whisperer expert, but it's in some ways, I think that's why this character seems so real, right? They don't know where they're going till page 2 either. I don't know what's going to happen to me around the corner all the time. I have some guesses, but it doesn't always happen the way I want it to.
Right.
So what? Before you start working on GI Joe, getting involved in GI Joe, did you have an appeal to it beforehand?
I've been a fan of GI Joe since I was 8, and I'm hitting the tail end of my 40s this year, so I'm over the hump of 40s. I'm hitting 46, so it's been 4 decades at least. Well,
Okay,
almost.
so did you have the classic 12-inch GI Joes, standard living real life hair going into the Kung Fu grip, to the 6-inch characters as well?
Yeah, I was born in 75, so I knew some people. I had some older brother friends, or older brothers of friends, who had the fantastic Adventure Team, which is freaking awesome. I love Adventure Team. Rocky, Ace, oh geez, what is it? Skip? No, maybe no. But I did not collect those. So my first Joe toys would have been the 3 3/4.
Okay.
Fantastic, posable, awesome. Lots of great vehicles. Lots of adventure. My friend's little brother, PJ, he had everything. So what I didn't have, we'd go play with. Then I got into the cartoon probably first, then the toys because, oh, look, there they all are in little form. And then the comic. And I've just been sort of into the ARAH specifically, mostly is what I'm really more of a fan of. The Sunbow cartoon is my love, but they're totally different. And you have to keep them different in your head. And they're both like freaking fantastic. And again, 300 issues.
All right, so let's go back to the original comic run. I believe it was in volume, annual. I think it was annual number 1. There was a character introduced in volume number 1 that shouldn't have been in that book. They did not have permission to put this character in the book.
Oh, Rocky.
Thank you very much. Now,
he became
Rocky
Big Boa.
Yes, Rocky Balboa is my personal hero. You'd be surprised how many people don't believe me on this, and I am like, Angry Geeks approve to you. I am super impressed that you know she's the real deal, Mark. Real deal. There you go. I am the wow.
I know she is.
Oh, Mutton Junkyard was one of my first figures. I love, Rocky became Big Boa, and I believe they were working on the licensing, so they're like, "Oh, we'll put him in the order of battle." So let's put him in the order of battle, and he popped up, and you're like, "Oh, that's interesting." But then the licensing deal fell through because they wanted to make their own like figures, and so we just took Rocky and we put a helmet on him and Big Boa. There you go. It works out perfect.
And I remember I interviewed Jim Shooter, and I was like, I need to talk to you about something. And he just looked at me and he was like, how do you know that? And I went, fountain of useless information.
There
and he
you
just
go.
started laughing, and he explained the whole thing to me. And I wanted to come from a source. So I'm looking down at you, and I was like, now that you're here, G.I. Joe expert, tell the masses, because still to this day, people don't believe me. And I'm glad you just validated that point. Thank you very much, Diana. I appreciate it.
There you go. It was going to be Rocky. They also, at one point in time, were kind of half working on Ronald Reagan.
Wow.
And you can find the art out there for Ronald Reagan. It never made it past the sketches, but you can find them. Joe was you got to remember, back in the 80s, it was the #1 cartoon. It was the #1 toy.
Mhm.
And it sold more subscriptions than X-Men and Spider-Man. It was #1 all across the board in the early 80s, right up until about 85, 86. It captured nation. I think that's because there's a Joe from everywhere in the country who looks like everyone in the country. You have, like, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, so there's Scarlett. And most people can find a Joe who comes from their state or who looks like them or who has a similar background to them. So there's always something that for those other kids, it's like also Snake Eyes. I know people who relate to Snake Eyes. Oh, there you go. It's your own chuckle version.
If you do, don't you dare.
I'm gonna do it.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Do it right now.
Don't you
I'm
dare.
about to do it, Lewis.
Don't you dare.
Is it happening? Uh-oh. Oh.
Put it down. No, the hat stays on. That's all I got to say.
You got your own G.I. Joe too, Lewis. I'm just saying.
We all gotta have my favorite Joe is Duke. That doesn't, that's not like a revelation to most people.
No, your favorite Joe is Duke, and this is the commission that I did for you for Duke right here.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There he is.
That's a little head sketch that she paid me for, and I was able to get it to her the day of.
Yeah,
I wish I could do it again.
Yeah.
I've learned so much since this sketch that I want to do it again sometime because
I'm always
I think it'd
open
be way
for more.
better.
Always open for more.
Lewis, who's your favorite G.I. Joe, dude?
Mine. Oh man. All right. Well, the original Joes. Let's go back to the original comics. I did have the lifelike hair, and I had the original Joes with the plastic hair. I'm talking 12-inch figures. Well, each one of them had a scar, and then I had the Kung Fu grip ones later on. As far as the comic book go, I'm gonna have to say, top 5 would be Rock and Roll. I love Rock and Roll, especially when he drove the motorcycle with the Gatling gun. Loved Rock and Roll.
Ram.
Dude, yeah.
Yes, Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll was awesome. Quick Kick was cool. I loved it when they brought in Quick Kick because I was a huge Bruce Lee fan, and I thought he was more. I mean, he was the Hollywood stuntman, yada yada yada. I loved the character because he was. Being a teen in the 80s, ninjas were like so, to me, played out. You had Revenge of the Ninja, Enter the Ninja, everything was ninja, ninja, ninja. So I'm like, okay, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. All right, that was just too much for me. But then I have a real martial artist as Quick Kick. That was perfect. I loved that. It was there. Cover Girl was really cool, especially when she drove the Wolverine tank. So I dug Cover Girl really much. Flint was cool because he kind of reminded me of John Rambo, but as a clean-cut version before he went nuts. So I really dug Flint. And then I have to say, because I am a wrestling fan,
I got the one with a shotgun.
Yeah, I would have to say Sergeant Slaughter because I liked how they brought Sarge into the comic. I still have his first appearance issue somewhere in my collection. I do like the way they brought Sarge in. I did. The way they introduced him in the comic was perfect. Throwing the duffel bag down, saying, "Hey, I'm Sergeant Slaughter." They brought this one-time professional wrestling villain to an American hero. I loved it. I dug it. I thought it was Sarge as a Joe was perfect. I really liked it. Like Diana said, it was a relatable Joe. This is a real life person who is now a Joe unit. He was a Joe agent. Perfect. I loved it.
And like, honestly, he's a really nice guy when you meet him.
Yes, he gave me a signed picture for my birthday. Walked up to the table, gave me a signed picture for my birthday. Like, you can't ask for anything cooler than that.
No.
Me being a G.I. Joe fan and a wrestling fan at the same time, I kind of freaked out, man. That was like the best birthday I've ever had.
He's a nice guy. If you hear Buzz Dixon talk about when he was in the cartoon, like, they brought him in, and you never know what you're going to get when you get someone who's not like used to doing
Right.
cartoon voices in, right? You can get some ego, you get, and according to Buzz, he was just the most solid, open, willing to, take direction, honestly nice guy. And I've met him twice and he won't remember it whatsoever. Of course he meets tons of people. But each time he makes you feel like you're like, that's you. You're in front of him. He's talking to you. You've got his time and he's going to give it to you. He's appearing at Joe Fest coming up really quick down in Georgia. And I think they're having a breakfast with him. And I bet you at that breakfast, he will make time to talk to every single person there.
Wow.
Wolfie says Flint was more like Colonel Troutman from Rambo. I would gotta say that's got to be Hawk. Hawk was more Colonel Troutman. I mean, he was more the original Joe. So I'm sorry, Wolfie. I love you, brother, but that was more Hawk. More.
Do you want to hear
more
my
Hawk.
top 5 Joes of all
Yes.
time, Lewis?
Yeah, go ahead, man,
So,
brother. Just
You gotta
show up
remember.
the looks.
You got to remember, I was born in '85. Okay, so I didn't never had a chance at these 82 Joes to save my life. You know what I mean? The first cool GI Joe I ever got was the '84 Cobra Commander, which was the hooded version. That's the only one that we could get. I never ever saw one with a face shield ever in my entire life up until I bought one like 2 years ago. Like that was the first time I had ever saw one when I held it in my hand at that time, man. And let me tell you, I was a '90s kid, so we were getting those early '90s Joes, and they were starting to get out there, man.
They were getting wild, yeah.
They were getting wild. Like you're talking dinosaurs, aliens. The coolest GI Joe thing that I ever had, period, was the giant robot during the space series.
Oh, yeah, Armorbot. Armorbot was like, yeah, that's a fantastic toy.
That was amazing. It was one of my all-time favorites. It had this little laser thing that would shoot all the rest of the Joes, and you could just see him dying under his laser. Like Armorbot came to kill all. That's all I have to say.
Take down Godzilla. Yeah, why not?
You're like Sergeant Slaughter walks up, oh, I'll take you down. Like, no, you want him Armorbot. You know what I mean? Like it was fun to play with.
Yeah.
But number 5 on the list is General Hawk. When he had his wings with the missiles. And that was number 5.
Flying Hawk. You like that one better than V2?
I loved it
because he was in the cartoon V2 with the leather jacket and the helmet.
Mhm.
That's the one I always with the fatherly yet comforting but stern voice. That's the one I always remember.
So
See, that's
I
why I'm
like
saying
that
he
one.
was more like Colonel Troutman. Okay.
I like that one, and I actually have it in the on the card, Diana. That's the only
Wow.
carded GI Joe I have. Is that one right there? That's the only one.
Whoa.
So, but number 4 is probably gonna be Destro V1
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
Like
Classic.
it was just the chrome on that helmet, man. Like if you put it in a pile with the rest of them, he's the first one that jumps out at you. Like
Well, yeah,
always
because
kind
he's
of.
chrome.
And I am such a Destro fan that I actually have his first appearance graded in a 9.4, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
So
Beautiful.
yes, big fan, guys. Number 3 on the list is gonna have to be volume or version 1 Snake Eye, or excuse me, Storm Shadow. Like that was an amazing figure. But I gotta say, Snake Eyes version, and this is number 2. Snake Eyes version 2. I mean, I don't know if it gets any better than that.
Yeah, with
on the
Timber.
entire scale.
You know the
Joe figures.
pre-order for the classified. That classified Timber they just announced, totally posable. And yeah, you get another Snake Eyes with him, but an awesome Snake Eyes. So the pre-orders for that go up, and I'm sure it'll sell out in seconds. Seconds, it'll be poof gone. Hopefully they'll make more.
That sounds amazing. Where do you get these special figures, by the way, Diana? Before I announce my number 1.
Ooh, well, there's Hasbro Pulse. You can get it on Hasbro Pulse, or you can try to. Amazon, a lot of toy stores like what is it, Big Bad Toys. They have it, so you'll see a bunch of different
yeah,
places.
Yep, out of New York.
Yeah, and so there'll be a bunch of them. What is there's a few. There is a few like smaller dealers who will probably have them for you that you can find online. And I'm blanking, of course, because it's late in the evening and this was sprung on me surprisingly. But if you look around your Facebook contacts, people will come up. Not that I'm telling you to go to like flippers on eBay. That's a complex thing that I don't have a final opinion on. That's a huge discussion about, people go and they buy out the toy store and then they resell them. But then again, these are tough times and some people were working and then not. So if that's what you need to do to get money, so I have opinions on like kids need toys. Why buy them all out? But then,
I
but you
need
can
toys.
have,
Don't buy them all out. What are you talking about?
but then again, what if someone needs that? What if he needs that money, right? What if he really needs that? So I can't come to a final conclusion on that. But again, Hasbro Pulse, Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon, like the Roadblock was like something weird, like Milky Way when he was released. And you found him on G.I. Joe Milky Way, and boom, it was the new version of Roadblock they've got. And then a lot of really great local toy dealers. If you go to Joe Fest, you'll probably come to a few of them. If you go to local toy shows, you'll come across them. Those guys will find them and you'll be able to get them there. The thing with Pulse is you may pre-order it and you may end up getting it after everyone else who goes to Target and manages to find one gets it. But at least it's probably coming. And I'm not in a hurry. And I'm not going to go fight people. Target is not one of my favorite stores, not because of the toy thing, just because it's like you walk
Fighting
in
and
and you
go
have to
for the
go
toys.
hiking. Yeah, you go hiking. Like Target, you go hiking through this vast land of stuff to buy. And I get really tired in there. I just do. But what's your number one?
My number one, I've actually got three tied for that number one spot, guys. So 84
Oh,
Cobra Commander.
yeah.
84 Cobra Commander is tied for number one. So is the Laser Viper, guys. And then number three is oh my God, the Enforcer. The Enforcer. It's from the 90s.
Nemesis Enforcer?
No, when the Nemesis Enforcer. He was
Is he
black and gold.
Cobra or
He was
you mean
Cobra
like
for sure.
Iron Grenadier or
No. It was from 93 or 94, I believe. It's something Enforcer, and I'm blanking it right now for some reason. So
There's one.
let me show you guys for a second my G.I. Joe collection. These are some of the Joes up top. And then here's Diana's favorite.
There he is. Varnas.
What was
My
his
collection's
name?
all Duke, mostly.
Enforcer.
Mostly.
Enforcer. I'll think of it. I'll
It'll
think of
pop
it.
into your head. I'm trying to think black and gold.
Bounty Hunter Enforcer, maybe? No. Something.
No. Because
Killing it.
when I hear Enforcer, I just think Nemesis Enforcer.
Tell you what, give me 1 second here. I'm gonna look for it. But before I do that, I'm
Was he
gonna have
part
my
of the
friend.
Headhunters?
Yes, that's what it was. The
Yeah,
Headhunter Enforcer. I'm
there
gonna
you
find a
go.
picture so I can show everybody real quick, just so they know what I'm talking about. Uh, so Diana.
I don't even think you know what you're talking about.
I think I
Oh,
know
we
the
do.
figure. It looks like he should be riding a motorcycle, but then he has this big gold like face shield, and he came behind Headman, which is a name
Yes,
that guy should have thought about a bit. Who looked like
I
Headman
found it.
looks sort of like Hamburglar's brother, but I kind of got what they were going for.
I don't know why I love this so much. I think it's just because I had him beat up all the rest of my GI Joes so
He looks like
much.
he would do that.
Here comes.
He's into leather. Is this Enforcer? But there you go.
Headhunter
Okay.
Stormtrooper is what he is, guys. My bad.
And he's got the little
Headhunter
Scully thing going
Stormtrooper.
on. All right, Battle Core. So yeah,
This was
look at
this
all
was
the
my jam.
spikes. Do you ever see that movie Beastmaster? He looks like he
Yeah.
should be in Beastmaster.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, with the spikes and the skulls. Giant black tiger wandering around. Look at the size of
That's
that
number
like
one.
rocket launcher thing.
I
Yeah,
was
and
thinking more
that was the
of.
other thing. It was so much fun because he could shoot the little rockets at the other GI Joes.
Pew pew.
I was thinking that he looks more like he should be in the Zombie Army trilogy video game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he totally does. So let's show this real quick. That is the tattoo on my right arm, ladies and gentlemen. Cobra all day representing. Got that a block away from the Hasbro headquarters at Rhode Island Comic Con. 3 years ago, somebody traded me a CGC of one of my art books for a tattoo, and that is what I got, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. That's a nice one.
Thank you so much. I agree with this right here. He looks like he should be in Road Warrior.
They
Dude,
were
he looks
so
like he could be part of the Road Warrior tag team from wrestling.
Oh, that would work. If you think Mad
That's
Max Road Warrior, they so often wore like way less underneath all the straps, right? They're usually like speedos and not much else beyond straps with spikes on them, which was a good
Pretty
look
much.
for the desert. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's hot. You don't want to wear a lot of clothes. Leather doesn't
Much.
work.
Pretty much. You hit that right on the head.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's the art too for the box. Like it took me back, man. It's kind of out there, you know what I mean?
I
And
like
I was in the Mutant Football League for Sega for so long too, and that's what it looks like is one of those guys from Mutant Football League from back in the day.
I honestly wish there was more of the original card art paintings out there. I mean, some of it, in the later years, it wasn't as big as the original ones, but that stuff is gorgeous. And
I
package
think it's
art,
the best thing in the world. I
yeah.
think it's my favorite all time like pop kind of art that you could possibly imagine. It's gonna stay in my head forever.
Yeah.
Like those original like 82 to 85 cards.
Yeah, with the
I have
Hector
every
Garrido
single
work. Yeah.
yeah, yes. It's
They didn't know
it's
what they
it,
had.
to me it's the greatest of all time.
That
Like
and Masters of the Universe, right? Those were just freaking oil paintings right there on the package, and you're like, I can see the canvas. It's
mhm.
it's beautiful.
I'd like to see a Julie Bell Masters of the Universe. I'm just saying, guess.
Mm, mm.
Diana, how did you feel about the live action Joes, and how did you feel, or how do you feel about the upcoming Snake Eyes film?
Do you mean the commercials or the first two live action movies?
Okay, the first two live action movie and the trailer for the upcoming
Okay,
Snake Eyes.
so I remember my sister took me to see the first live action GI Joe movie as a present because she knew how much I was into it. And honestly, I went with high hopes, and the first one just sort of shattered the hopes. And I think I could go into a whole bunch of stuff, but it just was too different for me. And
Yep.
then there were parts of it like Sinking Ice that I went, oh, come on, guys. The comic books are smarter than this. The comic books taught us about words we didn't know and historical events, and the cartoon taught us about like freaking DNA and all this. And now you've got ice sinking in the middle of the Arctic. That's a personal thing. The second one had more action and better action. But again, for me, it was a good action movie. It wasn't it didn't have anything that made me feel it was G.I. Joe. Not that the
I felt
people
the
who
same way.
made it didn't love Joe and try, but it missed the mark. Like the first 10 minutes of the first Captain America movie were more G.I. Joe than the entire two G.I. Joe movies. And it's just that they missed it. They tried. I mean, I don't want to judge other people because making a movie is not an easy thing. And,
Absolutely.
you got to make what you think is marketable. The Snake Eyes movie, I like the teaser trailer. I like where they're going with it. I see what they're doing. I like the fact that they went, in order to be able to sort of redo this, they went back to an origins. So it's like before G.I. Joe. So then we
Mhm.
can build to the Snake Eyes we sort of know. And it doesn't bother me that they cast Henry Golding, because I think the point of Snake Eyes is that he's an outsider. And in Japan, he's an outsider if he's not,
Yep.
I love Japan, beautiful culture, but if you're not Japanese and you go in there, trying to get into a family that has existed there forever and understand, you are an outsider. And I think Snake Eyes, wherever he is frankly an outsider because of his face, because of his background, because of he's a vet. He's a vet that was in a really difficult situation. He's a vet that went back into the military because his family's dead. Everywhere he goes, he's on the outside. And I think a character like Henry Golding, who's English and Malaysian, wherever he goes, he's a little bit of an outsider. So it may be something he can tap into. And he's also a pretty good actor, and he's a name that's going to put butts in seats. And the action looks fantastic.
Okay.
That's a great answer.
So yeah, I'm going in with a lot of hope. And Larry's Larry's point is, and he said this on his Facebook page, the whole comic is a retcon. Otherwise, they'd all be in their 70s, and it doesn't make any sense. And he said, you know what? When they gave me Storm Shadow as a bad guy, I had to make him a good guy because I got tired of Japanese martial artists being this exotic bad guy. So I wanted to make him good. So I needed a story. But if the Japanese guy was the good guy and he had a brother, I wanted to make the other guy not be, kind of thing, so that it all makes sense. So I'm going into it with high hopes. At the very least, since I've not been in a movie theater for over a year, I'm going to have a really great, exciting action movie to watch like 2 days after my birthday. It's going to be great. So, I mean, I'm going
That's
in
the
with
best
high
kind of
hope.
birthday present.
If it's
Okay.
just a good if it's just a good action movie, that still does it for me because I want to go see a good action movie in the theater.
Okay. When you're working on a character, whose voice do you hear in your head? I asked this of all my writers, all my artists. Do you hear the voice actor from the cartoons? Do you hear someone from the movies? Do you hear someone that you think the character should sound like?
For me, I don't really work on characters so much as point out that either they're dead or they're colored wrong, or they were somewhere else or something like that. But for me, all the characters, like for Duke, I hear Michael Bell. For
Okay.
Mainframe, I hear the guy who did Mainframe because I started with the cartoons, so their voices are in my head. I hear Arthur Burkhart for Destro all the time. When I see Destro, that's whose voice I hear. Now, that's not who Larry hears. When Larry sees Destro, he thinks more kind of like Sean Connery, which is a completely different take. But that's who he says is in his head. It's more of a kind of an upper class sort of Scotch guy, and that kind of makes sense. But you see, when they cast the cartoon, they were thinking big guy with a mask. Well, we need a big guy with a big imposing voice who can do it. Arthur has the acting background that he always, if you talk to Arthur, he sees Destro kind of like, I'm not gonna say Macbeth, but kind of in the way that he does what he has to. He's a noble who does what he has to for the people that are around him. So when you remember when someone's a lord of a castle or a laird or however you say, he's responsible not just for his family and his castle. He is responsible for all the people who work on his land or live near his land. The word sheriff comes from the guy who was like the lord, right? The sheriff of Nottingham was the lord who was supposed to keep everybody safe. So for him, what he does is to keep his people and his area safe and his family and all the people who work for him, and to keep them safe and well off. And for him, it's like, okay, I make money selling arms, and that's great for the family and the clan and everyone else. But there are certain lines he won't cross. And I think both Larry and Arthur playing him were in the same sort of thing with Destro. He's an arms dealer, and he's mostly out for himself, but he's noble. Like if someone in his care is in trouble, or if the guy he's working with is doing stuff that he thinks is like, frickin', that's not okay, then he's gonna, all right, that's why I'll work with the Joes here. I don't think that's all right. That's not good for anyone's interest. So I kind of, Scarlet, I hear Jesus, now I'm blanking on her name. It's on my wall. BJ Ward. I hear BJ Ward. Lady J is Mary McDonald Lewis till the day ends, till I'm dead. That's going to be Lady J. Flint is Bill Ratner. So in my head, that's who I hear when I'm reading the comic and when I see them. Now, if they're not a character who was in the cartoon, then it's kind of like, I'm not sure I've assigned them one yet. Like, I don't know what Psych Out sounds like in my head.
Okay.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
So Diana, tell us about this right here. Tell us what research specialist means for this book.
So if an artist doesn't know what a character might look like or what a situation might look like, they might reach out to me. Um, I I go over the plots. I'm lucky in this that I get to see everything as it comes down the pipeline, and I try to make sure that everything works out. Like Sneak Peek is dead. Crazy Legs is dead. So if I see them somewhere, I got to remind it. Or if a character name changes or something goes on, and then so they'll ask me to either look stuff up or figure out what I know. Let me try and find an example. Recently, like in a couple of issues, they've got a lot of Techno Vipers, which are freaking cool characters. And when Techno Vipers are doing techno stuff, that's even better. But a lot of the
That's the
times,
purple one with the silver logo, right?
right? Yeah, yeah, and they've got a lot of silver on their helmets. It's not always easy to know where all the silver goes because you've seen them like drawn several different ways. So if I see like say the coloring and I'm like, okay, but there should be silver there, then I'll point that out. Or if I see a character who's drawn in a group shot and he's dead, and I'll say, well, because sometimes they put extra Joes in there that may not be in the plot or script just because there's people going to be there. It might say in the plot, Lady J, Flint, and Cover Girl attack Cobra with various Joes in the background. And it doesn't always spell out who's there, or the artist just wants to make it more of a battle. So if I see, like, okay, that guy's in there, but he's dead, I might go, well, he looks a lot like this other character you could draw in. Or, an artist will reach out and ask me, when's the last time the brainwave scanner was used? Do you have that? Can you get that for me? Or even, you got to remember Larry Hama has been writing this since 1982. And for us, we're readers. So we can memorize stuff all the time. I don't think he goes back and reads comics once they're printed. Just like an actor does not always watch themselves on TV or in the movies. They don't. They can't. They're moving on to the next thing anyways. By the time the movie's out, they're working on a new character. So to go back to that character might be confusing. He's got a pretty good grasp of what happened through the whole timeline, but the little nibbly bits that we all know, he might not remember, nor should he. There's like 100 something characters, and it's been 40 years. But if I don't know it, I can go back and save him a whole lot of time and find it myself. So that's
Bringing it
kind
back
of
up for just a second so people can see it again. It's got to be the best feeling in the world to have your name printed alongside the GI Joe
it's a
logo.
it's a shock and a thrill. It really is. It's like it was a really nice thing to have happen. It happened. It just it was a great thing to do, and it's just it every day that I get to do something cool or see something cool, it just blows me away. It does. What I don't know, there's so many sites because Joe fans are really good about documenting stuff. So there might be something I don't know right away. Obviously, I don't call myself an expert. I'm just like a crazy geek who has been doing this for a bit because I really love it. So if I don't know, I find a site by some other crazy geek who loves it, who's documented everything, like 3D Joe's or Yojo.com or Joe Declassified. So it's all out there, and it's easier for me to go and find it because, editors have several books. Artists are trying to get the art done. Larry's doing the writing. I can pick up that little bit. But I'm a tiny cog, you got to understand. A tiny, tiny little cog in this big machine putting out that book that's been going for nearly 40 years.
A tiny cog is still a part in the machine.
So I'm just lucky to be there.
And
I appreciate it.
Amazing. I mean, I completely relate to everything you just said about just being a geek and being in the right place at the right time. Mark knows. I mean, I started all this as a joke, and now I'm on 2, 3, 4 shows a week and getting invited to different comic book conventions just to be an idiot and talk about geek things. I totally relate with you. It's just it is an amazing feeling to do what we do. It's just it's great. Wolfie says Crazy Geeks Unite. Lewis is a crazy geek about wrestling. I'm a crazy geek about horror. Yeah, it is. It's just a crazy thing, and it's humbling, and it's gratifying, and it's awesome. And you meet great people like Mark.
You do. And the best part of being a geek is when everyone gets to share their geekness and other people are like, Frida, that's cool. And if your geekness and their geekness don't match, I don't care. You really like that, right? Yeah, it's always a good thing. More fun sharing, like that's the thing with G.I. Joe. There's like comics and cartoons and another cartoon and another comic and this and that, and there's the movies. Some people really like the movies. And if they come with me and they're like, I really like the movie, look at all this, I did this all the movie, this is all my movie art. I'm like, freaking heck yeah, you go. That's awesome. Because you like that and you're having a fun time. Right? I don't care that it doesn't match my geekness as long as you're not being rude or insulting or objectifying or something silly like that, right? Don't gatekeep. Let them geek as well. And that's way
Absolutely.
more
Exactly.
fun.
And here's
Exactly.
two things we're gonna say, guys. First off, Diana, super proud of you for what you've been doing. You are amazing, and the reason we know each other is through our geekdom of GI Joe. I mean, let's just be honest. You know what I mean? I like all your GI Joe posts. I don't know if you noticed. I had no idea you were working on the book. I thought you were a fan like myself.
I am.
Everybody knows my number one cover. If I ever get a chance, is going to be GI Joe. Lewis knows it. I talk about GI Joe on this all the time, don't I,
Mhm.
Lewis? So
Yes, you do.
I'm a professional cover artist. If I ever get a chance, I want to do it. Not trying to put you on the spot or anything like that. I'm just throwing it out there as our geekdom. Here's the second thing I wanted to say. Joe McDonald. Welcome, Joe. Good to see you tonight, my friend. Uh, Geeks will always be geek, and that's a good thing. So amazing to have you on, Joe. Good to hear from you. Has there ever been a Joe based around horror,
There's been
Diana?
some. Like there's been the cartoons dealt with some horror. Like when Lady J discovered she was related to Destro, that was kind of a horror thing. There's a monster living under freaking Destro's castle and they toss people in there now and again. There's been some where ghosts came back. I think the comic has there's been several Joe comics that are not ARH and those kind of delved into horror a little more. There's nothing more horrible than some of the horrors of war. It's unsettling. You've got to do it. You might die. You can't run away. That's a different kind of horror. There have been been some really horrorish stuff in terms of cartoons and non-ARH comic books, and there were even some really like horror based monsters in those crazy 90 years, right? They did not come up with the replicators, but they had designs for Joes that had been sort of taken over by aliens. And what the figure would have done was it would have popped open and an alien would have like and popped out. So they were getting there. I think because the
Cobra
comic
Law.
books,
Cobra Law.
Cobra Law
When
was really great.
Cobra Law all day was a monster. So
Freaking
yeah,
love
yeah,
Cobra
when
Law.
Cobra Commander was turned into the snake, that was
Some of
I
those
can't remember.
creatures,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Some of those
and,
creatures.
and the toy is nothing like the rest of the toy line for that was nothing like the rest of GI Joe at the time. And
Yeah.
let me ask you about that, Diana. So a lot of people are split about this. They either love it or they hate it.
Mhm.
Because like the movie, I mean, it went in that direction, and a lot of people think it takes it more away from the real life stuff that happens in war and puts it in this completely different realm of sci-fi and fiction.
Well, you got to keep the comic and the. I talked to Kirk Bazigian about this, and I guess it was on one of the podcasts where we were watching a show, and Kirk pointed out. Maybe I wasn't even on that one. I don't remember, but Kirk did point out that the comic, cartoon, and toys are all actually three separate continuities. The comic stays mostly real world. It does it now and again. You get some stuff thrown in on the side. The cartoon, I remember reading an article in the 80s in which it was either Steve Gerber or Buzz Dixon said, you know what? It's like Star Trek. Okay. Star Trek is a Navy show. It's a show about the Navy. They're sailors in space, right? They have it's basically the camaraderie between people on a ship. But what they do is they do allegorical stories where you can make your alien your enemy, but the issues you deal with when you deal with that alien are real world issues. Okay. And so the cartoon did go a little off like reality. But the point of it wasn't like all science fiction, like all fantasy that really kicks, that really grabs you. The fact that they're aliens helps you see what goes on in the real world because you can let go of any preconceived notions you have about other people in your world. So if Cobra Law is an alien faction that came down billions of years ago and is totally like dealing with bio creatures and biotechnology and bio this, and they're wanting to like wipe people out, that is crazy. That is weird. But yet you can still grasp the fact that this is an insurmountable, scary new enemy we don't know a lot about, but we're gonna have to tackle because they're not stopping. And then you can deal with brothers who, one is struggling and the other is kind of stuck between, I got to do my job, kind of want to help you, but you don't want my help. And then you're dealing with, if you watch that, I know a lot of brothers who are like, yeah, no, I feel that way about my older brother. He's a jerk, but I love him. And the older brother's like, he's a jerk, but I love him. But then if one gets stabbed, that really kind of wakes you up. So the cartoon may have gotten a little crazier, and it kind of had to. It was a cartoon on TV, and so it was reaching a different audience than the comic. But the themes dealt with are the same. They're human themes. It's just that when it's easier to take, it's kind of like a pill. It's an alien, but that alien's scaring the heck out of you. I don't want to swear, because he's killing everyone you care about and he wants to destroy you and you don't get why.
Mark, it's pumpkin time for me, brother.
Oh no.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Okay, so Diana, I like to give Lewis about a good 3 minutes here to cut a promo. I hope he's been working on it because it's big time this week.
Let's see. Mark, give me a beat. Give me some claps. Give me a beat. Give me some claps. And we're gonna say, Mark May and the Angry Geeks Louis P. Have no doubt we will succeed. Leading the way with lightning speed. We'll take control, make the goal, because that's how winners roll. Louis P. from the Angry Geeks on the Mark May Show. How about that? Woo, once again, off the top of my head. Diane, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much. I am Louis Perry. I can be found every week on The Angry Geek Show, Monday night live streaming at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I can be found every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Faces and Heels podcast by Ink Slinging Jack Purcell. Every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time with Mark May on the Mayhem Show and
7 p.m. Mountain Time. He's out of his mind. He's the Macho Man Louis Perry, guys. 80s version. You guys know what was going on back then.
Anyway, thank you all very much. Stay classy, San Diego. I gotta go to bed because 4 o'clock comes too soon. Mark, stay classy, brother. I will see you soon. Diane, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
See you, Louis.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Louis Perry cutting his very famous weekly promo on us. I don't know how I'm going to have to respond to that, but one of these days I'm going to cut a promo on him and he's not going to be able to handle it. He's going to have to meet me in the ring, and I'm going to take that title. Just saying.
Gonna have to practice your flow.
Oh, I couldn't keep a beat clapping my hands to save my life, guys.
Oh, hey,
Ella
Alan.
Kaplan says, great show. Awesome to have you here. It's been extremely informative. One of the best, probably most informative shows we've ever had, Diana. It's been so much fun to talk to you. I told you this was going to be easy before you hopped on.
Heck yeah. It was a great way to spend a Wednesday evening, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I'm glad you asked.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming on such short notice.
Oh, no worries.
Anytime you'd like to come on again, I would love to have you on again because you are so informative. You're so nice to talk to. Uh, Tell Larry Hama I really want to do a G.I. Joe cover for free.
Just put your art. All you can do is put yourself out there. I mean, that's the only way to do it, right?
That's 100% true. Any G.I. Joe commissions I ever get, I always think those are my all-time favorite.
Wow.
One time I was asked to draw a Laser Viper, and I thought that was like the best moment of my life right
Oh,
there.
hell yeah.
It was like anything from the childhood that you get to draw is usually pretty fun, especially when you're just drawing girls most of the time. So
Yeah.
I've only drawn Baroness once. I'd love to draw her again. That would be probably my all-time fave.
You know
Let me
what?
ask you a
Do
question.
Cover Girl. Cover Girl. No one does. Her name is
Nobody
Cover
does.
Girl.
I know. You
How
talk
many
about this
covers
all
has
the
she
time.
been on? Yeah, and her name is Cover
Nobody
Girl.
does it. Yep. You're you're right.
Change her
You're
name to
right.
No
Cover
Cover
Girl
Girl.
is actually one of the figures I have on top of my mantle there. Just
I love
because like
Cover Girl.
yeah, I love her too, man. Like I'd love to draw her. Somebody wanted me to draw her, I'd be all over that.
Freaking someone asked
But
me to draw Cover Girl. Draw her like
let's
covered in oil, holding something, swearing at Clutch. Like, and he's
that's
fixing something and she's got a big wrench and she's like, fix the fucking, yeah, do it.
Dan, I ever thought about being an editor for a publishing company because I think you do a fantastic job.
You know what? Right now, I'm just taking things as they go and enjoying it as they come. I just think like freaking Cover Girl, right? I want her swearing at Clutch, covered in oil. I'm pretty sure that cover would go over real well too,
I
especially if it's
think it would
holding
be
like a wrench,
amazing. I
right?
think it would sell incredibly.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you this then. So that was about to lead into a transition question. Other than G.I. Joe, do you have any other favorite comic books?
Right now, I'm reading one. I mean, I like a lot of comics. G.I. Joe is my best, and I'm not as much a comic geek as you would think. I'm reading one right now called Something is Killing the Children. I think it's called.
Oh yeah,
It's a
yeah.
horror comic. Thomas might like it. It's really good. I like it a lot.
Tell me a little bit about that one.
It's well, I don't want to reveal too much
No,
because
so you won't ruin it. Keep in
no,
mind, a lot of these people, when we're on shows like this, there's other shows out there that have been talking about the comic since it's been out in the morning. You know what I mean? So for you to
yeah,
talk about the issues that came out last year or 2 years ago, I think it even might have been.
oh,
I think you're fine. Go ahead and
all
talk
right.
about it.
It's by Boom Studios, right? Something is Killing the Children. Let's see. And let me read the synopsis because I have it right up here. And I got it when it started, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so. And I'm not usually a horror person, so James Tinian the Fourth writes it,
Mhm.
and Werther del Adera. I excuse me if I'm mispronouncing this. By Boom Studios, and like basically, I mean, something is
He's an
killing the
incredible
children.
writer. This guy's an
Yeah,
incredible writer.
something is killing the children. And so the main character is a woman named Erica Slaughter, and she kills monsters. And it's like only kids can see these monsters, and then very special people. And it's not like the kids just like gently 80s horror movie die. They vicious, and it's a town where kids go missing, which is a real life fear of a lot of parents, right? What's going to happen to my kids? Where are these kids? And so you sort of start out slowly with this mayhem and this horror and these kids seeing these horrible things. And of course, since the adults can't see it, they don't necessarily listen. But Erica Slaughter belongs to this group of monster killers that comes in. And it's great. I mean, if I go too much into it, then I'm going to be like spelling out all the issues. But if you haven't seen it, I mean, it's been about a year, so I imagine a collected edition is coming out. But go on digital and get it, and just get all the issues you haven't read and read it.
I've heard a ton about this particular book, but all the Tinian's books that I have actually heard of so far are doing great.
Yeah,
Like he's got two other ones for Image too that are Ice Cream Man and Haha that actually tie in together. So apparently he does little things where he'll put characters from one book and put it in the other, which is genius.
yeah, I
You know
like
what
that.
I
He's
mean?
creating like a universe, right? His own
Mhm.
little. Yeah, I could see that. This one
So
is
that's
just
that's kind of what Hellbringers is, like with Jengar and Shred and Hellpug and the actual Hellbringers main title. We do the same thing. We bring different characters and we bring in the whole universe together. Uh, I know you probably haven't had a chance to read the book, Diana. We just started putting them out this year, but we got some really awesome cover artists, and I write the book. I created it. I do some of the covers. Um, if you ever get a chance, check it out.
Heck yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I'd love
It's
to
a lot
pick
of
it up.
fun, and it'll make you think just a tad.
I
So
like books that do that. It can't
it,
all be action. It's got to have some intrigue. Otherwise, you get like, okay, more battles. But I want to have like something to think about, right? I
so
really
it's
do.
kind of crazy. Like with Hellbringers, Dawn of the Devil, like we give you battles in the beginning of the book, but then towards the end, when it builds up to that final big battle, you don't even get to see one sword being swung. You understand what I'm saying? Because it
Yeah,
was the thought of what comes after. So the whole story didn't revolve around the action part of that scene, even though some people may want that. It would only been a page of action as opposed to, you know, us progressing the story with
yeah.
what's going to happen next.
If the battle
Uh,
doesn't move the story forward, there's no point in. Yeah,
Sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's not, because that's a lot of pages that you could otherwise progress the story with
right.
sometimes. So I got to tell you, it has been an amazing show to have you on.
Well, thanks.
If you get a chance, go to silentmayhemproductions.com so you can see all of my stuff. Just
Love to.
so, maybe you could be like, hey, Mr. Hama, good work right here. You see this cover? That guy right there did it. Just saying. Uh, but tell the good people out there where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Facebook, just Diana Davis. I think I'm on Instagram at Wavewench, but it's that's my private food, cat, and dog and little mini tree pictures. I mean, honestly, there's nothing to keep secret. If you really like little trees, I'd probably just add you on. Pinterest, Gallery of Duke. I have a Facebook page also, Gallery of Duke, because I just collect Duke. And I'm updating it and adding to it. I need to sort of like take it down and rework it right now. Thinking of putting out its own little gallery website, but I don't know anyone beyond me who'd be interested in it. But yeah, you can just give me a shout out and find me. Just usually Diana Davis. And if you see pictures of Duke all over it, or bulldogs, or little trees, that's probably me.
Speaking bulldogs,
Oh yeah, bulldogs. Love me some bulldogs.
you do love you some bulldogs.
I do.
Let's bring up a couple of bulldogs right now. Who are these guys?
That's Remy and Glory. I had them for 10 years. They were never apart more than a month in their life. They're litter mates. They passed away last year, sadly. And again, they were never apart more than a month, even in death. So Remy passed away of pneumonia that turned around and got him. He's the one on the left there. And then Glory it ended up that she had cancer, but we didn't know it until she stopped fighting it. I think she missed him. But they were beautiful, wonderful. I mean, bulldogs are the best, and they were just a joy to live with every day of their lives from puppyhood on.
Yeah, they are. They're amazing dogs.
Oh, yeah.
I got a pug who's actually ate himself into a bulldog. So he's changing the species as we
Yeah.
go.
He's the bull
I'm
pug.
really sorry about your puppies. I love them
Yeah.
both. They're so cute. That's why I wanted to bring them up here
I've
and
got
show them off.
I've got some more now. They're sitting here snoring on the floor. Luckily, they didn't destroy anything. So now I've got Splash and Paloma, and they're sort of best friends, BFFs, and they keep me company too. And then I
That's awesome.
don't name the little trees. But yeah, when I was a little kid, I wanted a bulldog because I was born in Atlanta. Dang it, Georgia, right? You have the
Mhm.
University of Georgia. You have bulldogs. My parents are English, so that's more bulldogs. And bulldogs are just cool. And mom's like, oh well, when you live in your own house, you can have whatever kind of dog you want. And she said the same thing about the motorcycle. When you live in your own house, you can get a motorcycle if you want. And so you know what? When I lived in my own house, went out and did it. Got a motorcycle and the bulldogs. It was great.
That's the first two things you got, right?
Right? Yeah, I got my own house. Time for the dogs and the motorcycle. Let's go. Went out and got them.
Man, that's awesome. You
Right?
you sound like you've had a pretty amazing and interesting life. I
There's
mean, you're a GI Joe fan through and through, and now you're working on the book, and you have your name in the book. I mean, I don't think it gets any better than that. I don't think it does at all.
life goes up and down, and you just gotta, you know what, you gotta keep going, because the most successful person in the universe, and which is not me, but the most successful people in the universe fail multiple times. It's that whole, I mean, you want to go back and talk to about Rocky, right? You get knocked down 9 times, you pick yourself up 10, and you just keep going. So, nobody's life is perfect, and I've had some hard times too. Not as hard as a lot of people. I'm relatively well off, knock on this wooden desk. So, I mean, I'm ahead of just being alive above ground with shelter and food. I'm ahead of 9/10 of the people out there. But if you just keep going, that's why I like when I'm talking about positive geeks, right? Talk about the positive, the stuff you love. Don't tell people not to love the stuff they love. So yeah, sorry, I go off on that. I think it's better to try and keep yourself moving forward, because then that's when amazing things happen, is when you give that chance to happen.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to move forward with my career, with the books that we're making. It's tough for a independent publisher who honestly was just breaking in as a cover artist. I mean, it's only been a year or two that I've been getting covers,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I decided to make my own books, and it's just been insane. This is the only thing I do for a living, so putting all your money towards your own IP is a
Yeah.
very scary thing to do. You know
It's
what I
gotta
mean?
be.
And it's taken all my money, but I believe in it so much that I let it happen. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
You've got to at least
Oh,
try,
you got a
right?
bulldog in the background back
Yeah,
there.
there's Paloma. She heard some sort of sound. She's my little wonder, that one. She's tiny, but she's like pure bottled energy and sunshine, that one. She's a lot of
It's a
fun.
cute
But yeah,
puppy.
you got to put it out there. No matter what happens, you have to try, right? You have to try. And if it does it whatever happens in the end, something good will have come of it, right? And you can
Mhm.
say you tried. It's the people who never try will never see and never get there. Like, geez, you got to keep trying.
Well, I'm gonna keep trying as long as I can go, and even I've worked 3 jobs before while I've been doing this just to try to make it to shows
Yeah,
while I've been working. So if it comes to that again, and I got to do it all throughout my 30s and 40s, I'll do it just to
sure.
try to be a little successful. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I just hope these books keep going good. Uh, you know, I I think that it's crazy to think to me, like, years ago, all I could think about was, like, working for G.I. Joe or working for Marvel or working for DC, and, like, you start making your own IPs and you're like, "Man, this is where it's at," you know what I mean? Because it's creative freedom, you get to do, like, whatever you wanna do.
And it's
It's
the, it's the creative part, right? You've got the freedom to do whatever you want, and in a way that gives you the license to explore and learn more than you would if you were constrained. Like
exactly.
you've got that freedom to like learn what works and what doesn't on the ground. And then you've got the freedom, if you want to take some lessons or classes or go somewhere, it's only going to make your book better. But beyond
Mhm.
that, it's going to make you better, so that, you have got your book, you can have other books, you can have this. It's just that optimism and going out and tackling it and learning on the ground and being willing to do new things and tough things. It can only,
And you learn that as a publisher way more than you would as just an artist, because you actually start to work with people that are artists, and you're like, "Man, I don't wanna be like how this person is being to me." You understand
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, as
I
an
hear you.
artist, like, I'm gonna be, like, a better artist because of it, and you know what? It's crazy because it has actually made me a more mature artist in person, being a publisher, and I would have never, ever expected that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
now I know what people want, and I can actually play to that strength of knowing what a good artist is when you're working with somebody, because you can take criticism, because you
right.
can do what they ask you to do. They ask you to change something, you don't complain, you just do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It can be a
Like,
steep, it can be a totally steep learning curve because you're used to like, well, this is not how I envision it. You're making something for someone else. It's not how you envision it in the long run. I mean,
mhm,
there's always a meeting in the middle. And that's the hard part with artists is because when you're an artist, you put yourself into it. But sometimes you put yourself into it and they're like, well, I don't like that. And then that makes you feel like, but that's me that you're saying, right? You have to kind of let
right,
go of that because it's not you that they don't like. They're not thinking of it that way. A lot of people don't understand how artists put a lot of who they are into what they do. But there's also a difference between an artist who is just creating for just creative expression and then like the many different levels of there is to be a professional artist. I know people who do professional stuff and then they do their creative stuff on the side. It's a steep learning curve. I'm not an artist, but I know plenty of them. My husband does graphic arts, right? And yeah, they've asked him to color comic books, which again, just happened because of networking, and he's a really decent person and good to talk to. And someone asked him, and then that sort of led to some others. And he does the coloring, but his trade is graphic arts, right? And he doesn't paint as much as he used to, which always makes me kind of sad. But when he does, it's crazy good. One day I'll show you some of the stuff he's painted.
love to see it.
Yeah, he's supporting himself with the graphic arts, which he also enjoys doing, and he brings that creative art into it. But then he does the creative stuff on the side too, and that satisfies both part of him. My sister is a fantastic artist and has always been a fantastic artist. Even when we were little kids, she was an amazing, amazing, amazing artist. Like she sits down in front of stuff and just and she draws it, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had that talent. And then of course that talent is matched with the fact that she did draw every day of her life for decades. So you just naturally get better. And she took art classes and this, and then she stopped. She went to college and she wanted to do art, and there was kind of a little like, well, you can't make a living with art. What are you going to do? And I wish she hadn't heard that. And she went into some field she was interested in, and then from there she went in a completely different direction. And she's really fantastic at whatever at being an educator and being an education specialist. But the art, it's taken a back burner, and it makes me sad every day. And she's making a living. She's doing really well. She's benefited hundreds, if not thousands, of kids' lives. But I wonder sometimes what would have happened had she said, I want to be an artist. And someone had been like, you do that. Go study that. I'm behind you. Do it. And then if it doesn't work out, we'll figure something out. Because, what could have been is kind of, you can't go back and do that. She's a wonderful person, very successful. But I do wish she'd have kept the art going because she could have done whatever she wanted to.
Right. And here's the thing is not a lot of people understand that I mean, like it takes one person that you love to tell you that you're not going to make it at something, and you can completely change your entire route of life. You know what I mean? But and then there's times where everybody around you is telling you not to do something.
Yeah.
Like when I first started this art venture, everybody told me not to do it. I'm talking everybody in my family, everybody in my like life, friends, like dude, girlfriend, all of them. Like, don't do this. It's just gonna let you down in the long run. There's no money in it. And here's the thing is, you know, I've probably made more money than I could have made if I had a regular job. You understand what I'm saying? And not only that, but I work way harder. So instead
Yeah.
of working just 8 hours how you would at a job, like I'm actually like working, say like 6 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the morning the
Oh
next
yeah.
day.
I've heard that. I've heard some comic artists, they don't sleep for days on end sometimes when you've got a deadline. It's a hard job.
Never,
And
never sleep. And it's
it
because most artists are messaging me throughout the night. So
oh
my
yeah.
phone goes off like ding, 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 ding.
But you
Like, as a publisher, it's just way, way more work.
yeah.
Like, I'd love to pick Larry's mind sometime just to like be like, how you guys do this for 300 issues?
Well,
Like,
he's an amazing guy. And
yeah, he is.
it helps that when you have a good group, I think that can create a team that works
Absolutely. That
Well,
I commend my team all the time. Russ Cassidy, McLean McGuire, Ron Charles Williams. We can crank books out. We can do one every month. Like it's insane how well we all work together.
yeah, and you
Uh,
get good
if
editors too who can draw, who know how to make people. Like an editor is a kind of supervisor in my mind, right? It's
Mhm.
your supervisor, and they're good people who know how to supervise people, who know how to get the best they can out of those people. There's an art to it. And you run into a bad supervisor who plays power games and threatens, and you're not gonna. I know there's people who believe that works, and in some cases you kind of have to, I guess. But for me, that doesn't
there's
work.
there's not a lot of cases where you have to do it. It's only if they're breaking their contract.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be tough sometimes, but at the same time, if you want a team to work well, you have to. I'm not saying you have to mollycoddle or give standing ovations all the time, but you want people to want to do what you're asking them to do, and to
Absolutely.
you don't have to
It's
enjoy every step of it, but they have
You
to
don't
want to
have
do it.
to yell at somebody in order to get the job done. Like my people
Right.
will tell you, the way I edit, the way I actually run the company is like I message them. I'm like, hey guys, like this is the deadline. This is when we need to get this done. If there's any changes that we need to make, I'll just let you know what they are. But and then if there's something that I hate, I'm not like that is fucking horrible. I will not sit there and say something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'll
no,
just
that's not
I'll,
gonna
I'll
work.
be like listen, like this probably isn't going to work out for this particular panel. Let's see if we can change it up just a little bit
Yeah,
and do this. There's a certain way to approach the situation like you're talking about, and some people get it and some people don't. I've had people think, and this is some people think they can just power play me basically.
yeah. Well,
Like
there's some.
I've never been power played at any job I've ever had by anybody.
it,
And
it
then
helps to be like firm but strong, right? And able to do stuff, but at the same time understand that you're working with human beings, right?
yeah,
I think people forget that. More power to you for leading the team like that. There's some industries where, like the chef industry, right? The yelly screamy chef who throws things has become such a trope now that that's kind of expected, and it really was in kitchens. And I think recently in restaurants and things, a lot of the kitchen staff's like, yeah, no, that actually isn't okay. It used to be that this is what you have to deal with. You can't hack it, you can leave. But why?
yeah. Why make them jumpy? Like so they'll throw dishes on the customers or something like
Yeah,
that
why
as they walk
why
out
what
as a server.
yeah,
Like
why yeah.
don't yell at a server, dude. They're already crazed out there with 5 tables as it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You don't really need to be a demon head chef to get your kitchen. I've seen some chefs, head chefs, who are not that way. And not that they're like super like, Pollyanna, like super petting kittens all the time. But it's just this that doesn't work. So I think you're doing a great thing. I mean, first off, you got to try. So I'm more power to you for doing it. And I don't know
I'm
why you
trying.
apologize for
I'm
being
6 books
emotional.
in
Don't
this
do
year,
that.
Diana. Six
Don't
books in.
apologize.
I had to apologize because look, I'm 6'4", like almost 300 pounds. Like
And
and I'm kind of a tough guy sometimes.
you can
Like
be a tough guy and be emotional. That's the
look, I
you.
cried for like 20 minutes on that show last week. Dang, I couldn't pull myself
I
together,
don't.
dude.
Yeah, that's fine because you everything you had wanted had come to fruition at that moment, and for you that was a moment of beauty because it was like, this is exactly how I wanted it, right? It was a moment of realization that you had achieved that benchmark, right? You've gotten to that milestone. The idea that strong people can't be emotional is ridiculous. Of course they can. And it doesn't have to be like for women, like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry because it's awesome. I'm going to cry because I'm sad. I'm going to cry because I'm hurt. I'm going to cry because I'm happy. I cry at friggin' commercials that are too emotional. That doesn't mean I'm not strong. That just means I'm strong enough to be able to put myself out there. And, so when they tell, like, people got mad at Wonder Woman 1984. Why is she crying? She's supposed to be a strong woman. She's crying because she is a strong woman. She's crying because she did something incredibly tough because she's a strong woman. And emotions aren't weakness. Without emotions, we're not human. And without humanity, we're not going to help other humans. And helping other humans is part of our strength. So don't apologize for being emotional when something freaking awesome happens that you always wanted.
That was
That's right.
amazing. Just so you know, Diana, that was amazing.
Oh,
Everything you
thanks.
just put, like the way you said it was very elegant too. So just throwing that out there.
Oh,
You
you're
should be a
welcome.
writer yourself. Have you ever thought about creating your own universe?
I write cheesy fan fiction. I write cheesy childish fan fiction. I've written some humor pieces. I like to write, but I've been really busy. That's let up a bit since I've unfortunately had to leave teaching. It was my choice, but it was a hard choice. Um, it made harder by the fact that I didn't want to leave the kids, but we'll get into that discussion about supervisors in the later on. Um, I just think that it makes me very angry when they tell people, like, if you get in an argument, someone's like, "Oh, you have feelings." Of course, I have feelings. I'm a human. Even Spock had feelings, and he was half Vulcan. And it was when he accepted his feelings that you realized how powerful Spock was. But someone tells you you can't cry, ignore them. They're not even worth your time. Go ahead and cry. That would have been an emotional moment. Strong men can cry.
Appreciate that. I really do. And there's a reason I left it up for people to watch it later on in the future. I'm not worried if somebody's ever going to make fun of me. They're never going to do it to my face. So
No,
it's one
because
of
you're
those kind of
6 foot.
things.
What are you, 6'3"?
6'4".
6'4". Yeah, they're not gonna make fun of you for crying. I mean, just make a joke about like it's raining down there, huh, or something. It, crying is fine. Being angry is
Rated
fine.
on there. Ah,
Being happy is fine. Being sad is fine. That's a part of who we are.
it's so funny. You're so funny.
One of those little rain hats. People who make fun of feelings make me upset. It almost
So,
makes me want to cry.
Diana, I have a video, one more video of Hellbringers, The Ties That Bind Us. I could go ahead and share it now if you want to watch it, or I could go ahead and say goodnight to you and throw it on here because I don't want to waste too much more of your time
Well,
since you've gone 36 minutes past our hour.
play us
But you were
out,
just
and I'll watch it happily, and then I'll segue right into family game night, and I'll have done so because it was a great evening. I'm glad you asked me. I really appreciate you asking me on here. It's always fun to have fun talking cool geek stuff with other geeks who like to enjoy fun stuff.
Well, I mean, we have a ton in common when it comes to the GI Joe stuff, and I love historians, and that's what you are. To get me to shut up and listen sometimes is tough, but when I do want to listen, I do not say a word. And tonight was one of those shows. I respect the hell out of you, so that was really amazing to get to
Well,
do.
thanks. Make sure
Thank you
you
so
check
much.
out all those other GI Joe historians. Check out 3djoes.com. Yojo is slowly closing down, but those guys worked hard on that site before they lost it. GI Joe Declassified. Oh God, Dan Klingus was. There's so many great Joe people who know like things I have to look up on their site because these guys they devote so much of their life to every little detail of GI Joe, all the licensing stuff. So go ahead and check them all out. It's fantastic.
Absolutely will. Uh, Diana, I actually wrote this song that is about to play. It's kind of like a music video for a teaser for
Okay.
kind of what's coming up. But I wrote the song, and it is performed by Eric Stiglia. And we have a little bit of a soundtrack basically for Hellbringers that's going to be coming out soon. So this is the Kickstarter video, hype video for the Kickstarter that comes out on the 28th, Hellbringers, The Ties That Bind Us, our last Hellbringers book of the year. So Diana, I just got to say thanks again for being on here.
Thanks so much for asking me. I really do appreciate it. It was great.
Anytime you want to do it again, just let me know.
Thanks. Well, there's more coming up to announce, so I'm like, whoa.
She seeks her husband, the devil. With a natural travel to the ancient capital of Citadel of Fate. Sneaking through the volcanoes, slave and across God's
Think. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Diana. Got you on mute.
There you go.
Diana,
That was
there you
fantastic.
go. What'd you think of that?
I liked it. I love that song.
That was a good song. He made really good song. It was fun to write. I never knew I was a songwriter till this year either. So,
Keep doing it.
crazy stuff. Diana, once again, it was amazing to have you on tonight. God, I cannot wait to do it again. Please just let me know when you want to come on, and we'll throw you on here.
Heck
Tell these
yeah.
people one more time where they can find you before I throw it down the ending video.
All right. You can find me on Facebook, just Diana Davis, probably Instagram on Wavewinch. You can look at Gallery of Duke on Facebook or Gallery of Duke on Pinterest. And I'm on Twitter as well, just as Diana Davis. So you can always drop me a line as any of those. I'll pop up left, right, or center, especially if you want to talk about G.I. Joe or little trees or bulldogs, possibly cats.
There you go, folks, ladies and gentlemen. That was Diana Davis, one of the best episodes we've ever had on the Mayhem Show, episode 20. I didn't apologize for last week. I might have apologized for last week. I can't remember this morning. Did I apologize?
Shouldn't apologize for last week.
Shouldn't
Stop
apologize at all,
apologizing
she
for last
says.
week.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to leave you with a completely different tone. And that is, I will see you, Springville, Alabama, June 28th from 4 to 8 p.m. Main Street Italian Bistro, right across from my old church, is where the Hellbringers books debut. Pretty crazy how life works out, ladies and gentlemen. Love you all. Thanks for watching. It's been an incredible night with an incredible guest. The Mayhem Show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week.